Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. John Lee here. I'm going out to DoorDash the machine, hit the DoorDash Diaries. Hope everybody's having a badass day. Don't forget, like and subscribe my videos because we got more DoorDash Diaries coming. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. John Lee here with another episode of DoorDash Diaries. So I just wanted to remind everybody, if you do order alcohol, one of the cool things about DoorDash is we will bring you alcohol, but you have to be able to show your ID, so you won't be disappointed and enraged by the end of the game. Man, I wasn't even on the highway from my small little town before I got a little McDonald's hit. $4, less than 2 miles, so that's a win-win for Mr. Jonavelli. So what do you think of my fresh new DoorDash gear? I think it's fucking dope as fuck. Almost gangster shit, but not quite. Sometimes I wonder what in the fuck takes so long. And then they handed me a Sprite. I don't think that's part of my Welcome back to my community if you're a subscriber. If not, you should consider subscribing right now. So this is kind of another episode of DoorDash Diaries. I saw another YouTube video. I've been watching a couple different YouTube videos about the DoorDashing and some Grubhubbing and a few other cool videos. And as a business owner myself, but also as a DoorDash driver, I kind of wanted to weigh in my 2 cents about what I thought about, the difference between how much the orders are paying versus, how much work the drivers are doing versus the companies trying to save money and trying to make a profit. So, my take is on it, obviously, whoever's making the most amount of money can afford to worry a little more about the little guy. I also believe that everybody, I've seen a lot of videos where they're saying, well, if you don't like the order, you don't have to take it. Because I guess there's some strikes or people at the Capitol, different capitals, and they're kind of complaining about, minimum pay. But the thing is when I've tried to get any kind of real clear transparency of expectations, or just how, the pay breakdown for different types of work that we do, I haven't been able to get a real clear answer. And sometimes, I can't get people to actually just own, what they say they're going to do and stuff like that. So it is really difficult and frustrating to see these jobs coming across to where there really isn't a minimum. Like some of the ways. And it's not that I don't appreciate the opportunity to have a little, more leisurely schedule, work at my own pace. I don't necessarily work at my own pace, but I do work, when I want and kind of how I want. So, they do kind of think and expect that people should appreciate the opportunity, and really they should. But there should also be some type of a minimum, set of expectations. Like, I'm not going to deliver anything to anybody. I'm not going to get in my vehicle and take a risk of getting behind the wheel for, really, I'd rather not do it for less than $50, to be honest. But some of these orders obviously are $8, $10. But some of them, which those aren't really the issue. My issue is that they don't really give you a lot of time to, actually make a reasonable, rational, educated decision before they're pretty much expecting you to either accept or decline the delivery offer. So I kind of see it from both ends of the spectrum. Yeah, people should appreciate having the opportunity to be their own contractors, but, I should be able to bid on the job, so to say. There will always be people that will work for less, but I don't think that that's any reason why you should exploit them. I get how the market works, supply and demand, and there's always somebody else that's going to come in and do shit cheaper, but there's still expenses that need to be covered, like, transportation and wear and tear and depreciation and all that kind of stuff on your vehicle. And when it comes down to it, the pay $16, $18 an hour doesn't really cut it. But if you can hustle and make 18, 25, 30, 45 an hour, well, then it's a little more worth it, because then you can actually afford to put a little bit of money back to cover your taxes and your expenses and everything else. But one of my issues is that it's really misleading, and I'm really sorry about the wind, but I gotta drive to town. I'm teaching a class tonight on the Part 107, which is off topic, I know, but I'm just constantly on the go. So my time is pretty valuable. I'm not retired. I'm trying to do this full time. So, I'm looking for a competitive rate of, really $25 to $35 an hour minimum, just to cover my time, because I have other skills that will allow me to do something else. So you won't really hear me bitching, complaining about anybody trying to get away with charging or providing a service for whatever anybody will do it for. But I do think that there's a little difference between that and expecting a fair rate. Like, I took a job earlier. Yeah, I chose to, but that's because, I'm relatively new to the whole game and shit. And it was $250, and it said this includes base pay, order, or some shit, plus the tip. It was telling me that there'll be a base pay and there'll be a tip. So, and the base pay minimum I thought was between $2 and $10, which basically often it's $2.50, from DoorDash. So I thought, and then underneath it says, it may be higher. Well, they never told me that it may not be higher too. So, part of the whole pitch to getting people to accept these offers is kind of misleading and a little not so transparent. So I really don't think that people should be bitching and complaining about shit that they don't have to do. But I do think that they need to sweeten the pot and make it a little more worth my time, because if you actually do the math and you decline, they say, oh, it doesn't affect your your acceptance rate and all this shit, but I've been getting less. As a top dasher, that's what gets you the rewards of having access to first dibs on the high-paying orders, the best routes, the best customers, and all that shit, best tips. So only if you're willing to, and you got to have like 70% of the jobs that you are doing and accepting have to fit that category. So for you to be a top dasher, but they say the acceptance rate doesn't matter. But once I started declining all the other ones, made my first $1,000 week last week, I noticed that I was starting to get gypped and I wasn't getting as many orders. So I'm sure that it, was probably slow, but I know this shit's just picking up. So there's no way that it's just getting slow. They just didn't like that I was turning down 2/3. So my acceptance rate is now down to about a 35, 34, 33%. And so what that tells us is that their jobs aren't really worth the time. So if it's not worth my time, then I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to complain about it, but it almost sounds like other people are kind of bitching about it. And so I won't take any interest in deliveries that are less than $2 a mile. And these zero tipping bullshitting ass orders, nobody's gonna take that shit. So, at first I was trying to do every single fucking job, and then I realized I wasn't gonna ever fucking make any fucking money doing that. So I changed my strategy up, and I've been doing a lot better. So you gotta set smaller goals, and you're gonna have different times. I've been going out just to make sure that it wasn't me. I've been going out every fucking morning and every afternoon and then every evening, 7 days a week. I got an order, but I'll pop back on here in a little bit. I'm Mr. John Lee. I'm on to the next one. The reality is, it's not worth my fucking time to drive my vehicle for $5 to deliver something to anybody that's just fucking lazy as fuck, period. You better throw something my way. This no tipping bullshit, the bottom line is, they're giving us 2/3, 66% of the jobs that I'm getting are bullshit. And so if 66% of the jobs are bullshit and low paying and not enough to cover my expenses, I don't think it's just an issue that I don't appreciate having, you know, this type of a job. I think that it's an issue of, you know, the company is trying to really supplement the income and get, you know, the customers to pay the wages of the drivers. And I think it's kind of shady, and there's a lack of transparency, and I think somebody does need to do something about it, and there should be a minimum and there should be clear expectations, so, you know, everybody can think what they want. But at the end of the day, in the beginning, by taking 2/3 of the shit that was crap, I was putting myself in the hole, and it was not profitable. So I don't think that it's, you know, a very fair, you know, maybe it's not a fair situation and that's how it is, but maybe it should be fair. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments below. I mean, think about it. If somebody is nice enough to take every single job that you give them, why wouldn't your algorithms be set up to be mutually, you know, beneficial to the maximum potential for all parties involved? Is that really how the free market works? Because if so, you know, I'm all for the free market, but I'm not for screwing people around. You know, you don't give people, you know, like, hey, if you would do, you know, good work for shitty pay, I'll give you the shitty pay and still take advantage of you. Just don't seem right.